Hello to you all. Today we have a video about protein and breakfast. We will break this down a bit, maybe make some links with dry fasting, we'll see. Before we get to that, our summer retreat is coming up very soon. Remember, we are the only ones in Europe doing holistic dry fasting. Even on this planet, no one else offers what we do. This video is also for the purpose of boosting this channel. I realized we only have about 2,000 to 2,500 followers. At the moment, the therapeutic dry fasting that we practice is one of the most effective therapies you can find in the alternative field of natural medicine. You will not find anything more effective for both detoxification and regeneration. For pathologies, 80 to 90% of people coming in have them. Dry fasting provides a favorable response with some truly spectacular improvements. There are people who have millions and millions of subscribers. They talk to you about totally subjective things. The idea is to ask you also to share this info that we publish. I give this for free. Of course, there are those who want to take it further and practice dry fasting at home. We created a course for those who want it. Otherwise, all channel videos are free. It takes time to prepare them. In return, please like and boost. I think there is a boost function, but I am no expert. But make dry fasting known. Dry fasting is currently so criticized by many people. We are criticized even by doctors, non-doctors. They say you can't live without water, it's dangerous, it ruins kidneys. Critics have never tried it. They know nothing about us. They haven't analyzed or understood the subject and allow themselves to criticize. You do not hesitate to intervene on social networks, make the channel known, talk about it around you, etc. It is important to spread the word and grow this community, which cannot remain just for an elite, people who are interested in that. The goal is to share. I wrote a book on the subject. This book, it is for the planet. It is to help people. You have a first-level therapeutic tool to treat your little ailments. But remember, dry fasting must be done right. If done poorly, you won't get the benefits and might have issues. That is why there are trainings. For those who really want to practice, we are here to help. The book contains information that can really help. It provides you with the information you need to be able to start fasting. If you are in good health, you know your body well, you can start on distances up to 5 days, there is no worry. After, if you have complications, do not start alone without accompaniment from someone who masters the subject. If you know someone who came to us, they can advise you. They will have an idea. When you see 20 people in a fasting group, you understand, you see the other cases. It gives you knowledge. And then you know after seeing. I know that if you have inflammation, it will really help you. If you have gut permeability, an intestine that is not doing well, it will help you. If you have body pain, dry fasting will help. Dry fasting has an answer to about 90% of all pathologies existing on the planet. Me, it has been 20 years that I have been accompanying people in appointments. I can confirm today that dry fasting is the most effective therapy. We save time. That means that in 1 week of dry fasting, you get the same result as 3 to 4 years of naturopathic follow-up. You save time in a spectacular way if you are interested in practicing this method. Afterwards, you can do very short fasts. It does not have the same result, but 24 or 36 hours per week. I made videos about it. It remains interesting as a therapeutic means. There you go. So do not hesitate to share this channel. Make it known. Put comments, thumbs up, likes. I do not know. That is what you know. Do not hesitate to put comments if you hear negative people about fasting. Say no. There are results. Watch this channel. You can mention me, there is no problem. There you go. So, the idea is to boost, to make this channel grow. We have 2,500 people, I think, about on this channel. There you go. We must make this known. We must demystify. We must break the codes. We must now stop with the taboos. Dry fasting has its place largely, and water fasting too. There you go. I do not know what I am doing, but there are links between dry and water fasting. We juggle both because when people finish the dry fast, of what we consider their therapeutic work, we can make them continue with a water fast, depending on the cases, the people. It is the follow-up. So, it is linked in any case. Water fasting is slower and less powerful. It has little effect on pathogens or infections. It is less powerful and not suitable for infections. But it remains interesting anyway for those who want to go slowly, do a very soft thing. Water fasting has its possibilities. It is not my field, so I cannot talk about it. I do not have expertise in water fasting. No, I do not follow people with that. I only do short dry fasting, but you can certainly do dry fasting, water fasting with a few days following and then refeed afterwards. This is something that we are quite accustomed to doing. So let us get back to the subject we are discussing today, which is breakfast. What I notice is that I have people. I had a lady who came yesterday with infections, things like that, and who cannot recover. She is a 70-year-old woman. And then when I asked her about her diet, I am vegetarian, I have very little protein. When people are prone to infections, you must really increase protein. She was totally lacking in protein. Also, the older you are, the more protein your body needs to function. We will discuss this more. So the simple question here is the breakfast that we drink everywhere. Why have we replaced protein with sugar during our meals throughout the day? For decades, the food industry has sold us the classic model: cereals, bread, rusks, jams with orange juice, presented in that way, so to speak. I would like to remind you that porridge, oatmeal, and bowls of rice are actually indigestible foods. They are meant for horses. Oats, I remind you, are not for humans, and you have so many people eating this for breakfast. It is a crazy amount of sugar. If you take a bowl of cereal and add the equivalent amount of sugar, it comes out to about 10 sugar cubes. Eating that in the morning is pure madness. We have people, I will not name names, in Russia, including dry fasting. They are people who make you eat porridge galore, be it buckwheat porridge, gluten, or any kind of porridge. So it has no place in dry fasting, in food recovery. I might do a topic on the mistakes we see in dry fasting, which have been conveyed for years and years wrongly, because in Russia they have traditional knowledge. They like taking things that date back 50, 100 years, but that is over. We are no longer in that model anymore. With modern science, we have realized that the Russian recommendations are largely exaggerated and lead to all diseases of civilization. I might do a video on common errors in the dry fasting world to break the codes on what has been wrongly spread for years. So these breakfasts consisting of orange juice, croissants, jam, rusks, bread, and cereals, even eating fruit in the morning, in my opinion, has no place in a healthy breakfast. So, regarding these breakfasts, if we think about it together, after sleeping, what does your body need when waking up? It needs sugar to raise blood sugar. Then at 10 o'clock, you have a drop, and then what does it lead to? It leads to fatigue, digestive problems, etc. You are like a junkie. You always need carbohydrates to function. And you are not running on a fat-burning fuel. You always need carbohydrates constantly with endless snacks. cereal bars, things to boost energy. It is a vicious cycle. You are trapped. And then you do not call for autonomy. I can pass. Here I just came out. I just ate. It has been 24 hours since I last ate. It is hot, a heat wave. I don't need to eat, so it's fine. I'm not dead. I have done sports almost 5 to 6 times a week. I have no worries about not eating for 24 hours. I have been used to this forever, and my body can function with physical efforts very, very long without eating. I have developed fat burning capabilities and not sugar. But there are people who, if they do not have their bowl in the morning, cannot function. There are still questions to ask yourself. What does the body need? It needs building material. When you are sleeping, your body is repairing and recycling. You are going to rebuild it. There are billions of reactions taking place every single night, which is why sleep is one of the pillars of health. Just as much as physical exercise, fasting, nutrition, and good mental health, sleep is on the same level. If you do not sleep, it doesn't work. It's a missing pillar. In my opinion, there are 2 options available to you. A protein-rich breakfast in the morning, or intermittent fasting. I do not eat in the morning. It goes very well, those who want to eat in the morning. We need building blocks. We need protein. These proteins are likely the most underestimated nutrient of our era. We have people who only consume plants and sugar. The foundation of nutrition for me is animal protein. We should have them at every meal to function well. Our muscles are made of protein. Our enzymes, all digestive enzymes, the enzymes in the body are made of protein. All antibodies are proteins. A large part of the immune system depends on protein. Neurotransmitters are made from amino acids. Our organism is literally built on protein, and yet how many people start their day with the classic breakfast orange juice? Breads, cereals, oats, porridge. That is a mistake. Breakfast, if taken, is eggs, meat, animal proteins. It can be allergen-free eggs, fish, and so on. Materials are needed for the recovery. As we advance in age, the difficulty of assimilating them increases. To use them. This is all tied to aging. At 20, the body is efficient and handles protein assimilation well. At 50, it is harder. At 60, 70, and more. It is quite complex. There is a term researchers use, the anabolic resistance. As we age, muscles react less to protein. The same meal that strongly stimulated growth at 25 becomes less effective at 60, at 70, at 80, it gets harder. We require a stronger signal and more protein intake as we advance in age. There is another phenomenon that is little known, called splanchnic sequestration. A portion of the consumed protein is used by the intestine and the liver before even reaching the muscle. This uptake increases with age. As we get older, we need more protein to achieve the same results. Yet, most people do exactly the opposite. They reduce their consumption of meat and protein, thinking that meat is toxic and acidifying. As we age, I eat less meat, which is a mistake. The older we get, the more we need. Splanchnic sequestration is at play. We must nourish our membranes. Immediately, 25 to 30% of protein is captured and used for reconstruction. The older we get, the more protein we need. At a certain age, we wonder why we lose muscle, strength, and recovery, and why we are more immunologically fragile. And muscle is not just an organ for physical activity and sport. It is a strategic reserve. a survival reserve. It is the glutamine reserve, the energy reserve we have in the body. When an infection or disease strikes or surgery is needed and people have surgery at a certain age, the body will immediately mobilize proteins and amino acids. This often happens in the muscles. So, we need to maintain a high level of muscle capacity into old age. That is why I suggest doing strength training at least once a week and cardio for the rest. But you must lift weights with bars at least once a week. Do things like that, do push-ups and so on. You must keep up some physical activity, weight training, lifting weights once a week is good. There you go. What I have observed over the years is that health rests on two axes. We have cleaning and rebuilding phases. That is why fasting is important. It allows for one yearly phase, which I do, a yearly fast for cleansing. Then there is reconstruction. People stay only in the reconstruction phase, eating constantly from morning until night without stopping. They really leave a period of rest for their organism. And that is where we intervene with breaks, notably dry fasting. The therapy to practice, even a 3-day dry fast. We had a lady who came. I heard on the group she had Lyme disease. This person could not do more than 3 days of dry fasting. 2 months later, she went to have blood tests. The doctor was very surprised by the results. Everything improved. She also had a good recovery afterward. If you do 3 days of dry fasting and a good recovery, you can get blood work done. Everything will have improved. All her markers were better. The doctor was very surprised. What did you do? And so on. So do not hesitate to practice, even if it is only 3 days. You will get results. Then there is the support provided. We could talk to this person. She was able to unload and share things in the group. She may have met interesting people, etc. It is everything around it that allows for an interest, a therapeutic effect. If you fast at home alone in pain and difficulty, the therapeutic result might not be the same. You have a synergistic effect at play and benefits with the biotherapies we offer. There are treatments, there are massages, there is emotional work, etc. It is a synergy. My personal experience has led me to consider dry fasting as a period of true mobilization of internal resources, a period during which the organisms temporarily cease to receive external inputs. And then this period is a transition phase of cleansing. There is no miracle to dry fasting. It really allows for a physiological reset, a cellular reset, a reprogramming for something new, which allows you afterward to reuse the materials you consume orally in a much more significant way because your body is regenerated, restructured, and reset. You have gained 20 years. Your body and organs are more receptive, cleaned, and regenerated. And you will better use your protein capital after a dry fast. That is what we have seen. You perform a reinitialization after a therapeutic dry fast. Water fasting can work too. It is less powerful and less effective, but the mechanism is the same. The secret is the exit. I repeat, 80% of the dry fast is how you come out of it. How you are going to drink liquids again, how you are going to refeed yourself. That is our trademark, where we develop the most appropriate and precise food reintroduction possible. Nothing like in Russia, where they haven't studied nutrition well. They give things unsuitable foods. That is what I have verified. In most centers, there are mistakes. They break the fast with carbs, which is a fundamental error to me. Because we're going to bring back old storage habits, raise insulin, and it is a fundamental error seen in dry fasting circles. It is reintroducing carbs immediately after a dry fast. That is what we practiced at the beginning, but we saw it didn't work because some people had digestive problems and it made it less effective. There was less therapeutic efficacy. I'm not saying there's none, but less than if you avoid carbs during the exit. And that, I would say, is for the week following refeeding. We really avoid carbohydrate intake to potentiate the effects of the fast. Maintaining ketosis to prolong the effects of the fast is always beneficial. And then after, if you want to resume a little carbohydrates later, that is okay, but you leave a good week without carbohydrates. Without stewed fruit, drinks, or milk kefir, the kind of stuff we see in Russia, which is a fundamental error. I am not denouncing it, but I find it a shame. They do not understand and continue with things that do not work well. I would not say there are no results, but it works less well, and if you have people who are digestively fragile, they will immediately feel that it will not go well. There are people who come to the fasts who are forces of nature, of course, giving them milk, kefir, it will pass. But some people have digestive hypersensitivities for whom it does not work. And there you must give liquids that are adapted with micronutrients that will clean the kidney, that will continue the work. We do not give sugary things, drinks based on cooked fruits. What we see a lot in Russia is compote, and that is an error. We do not give that when exiting a dry fast. It complicates the fast. It makes the exit more complicated. There is less efficiency if you take that. It will spoil your fast a little bit at the exit. It is a shame. But everyone does what they want. I am not here to give lessons. I am here to try to guide you on the best possibilities for the food exit, which we must not spoil. We sacrificed ourselves to spend a week dry fasting. It is difficult. We had results. And if we break everything by giving unsuitable foods at the exit, it is a shame. We missed something. The exit is very important. With what are we going to rebuild? Proteins. After, there is a specificity in the fast of the post-fast that is not today's specific subject. Generally speaking, you must provide proteins in small quantities, etc. So the fast really prepares the ground. Proteins provide materials. Afterward, there are molecular weights. When not fasting, we do not care about protein molecular weights. Fish is 150,000, red meat 3 to 400,000. So there are things. When you are not fasting, you can take all types of proteins, the molecular weights that you want. There is no concern with that. In summary, the fast empties the construction site. Proteins allow us to rebuild the bricks and materials. It is also for this reason that I question the modern breakfast, which brings nothing good. The approaches are a breakfast rich in proteins in the morning. Which is interesting, I said it before. We avoid cereals, the glycemic spikes in the morning. We have protein at every meal. That is very important. There, we need materials for rebuilding. I deeply believe that the future of health will pass through a better understanding of three elements: metabolic rest, reconstruction, and proteins that provide maintenance bricks. And then all physiological balances, whether immune, metabolic, blood. You must provide these bricks at each meal. For me, it is vital. There, share these videos, make the channel known. See you next time for another video. Bye bye.